With the NBA season officially ending now that the NBA finals are over and the draft being a little over a week away, we're now getting more trickles in on potential offseason interest. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the rumored interest the Bulls have in Clint Capela. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. So it came out today that the Chicago Bulls are reportedly one of a few teams that have made calls on Clint Capela. This comes from Matt Moore of the Action Network. Says this: Clint Capela is a popular trade target with the Grizzlies, Wizards, Pelicans, and Bulls having expressed interest. Now, this is interesting for a couple of reasons because a lot of Bulls fans think and hope that the Bulls are going to look at the center position in this upcoming draft. With Andre Drummond, earlier this week, Gus got reports that Andre Drummond is expected to leave in free agency and look at and prioritize other teams. It's left a kind of role there for a backup center. Now, Adama Sanago is also somebody who could be a candidate to compete for that backup center spot. But even if the Bulls do plan, and I'm going to kind of lay this out, if the Bulls do not plan to draft a center in this draft, meaning that they go wing or even guard theoretically with the Devin Carter rumor, things like that, that would mean that the Bulls are going to be needing a backup center. And if Adama Sanogo, even if they think that Adama Sanogo is ready, the Bulls could very well be looking to bring in a veteran center also there backup to say, hey, if Adama Sanogo flourishes or thrives, cool. Or maybe we just don't believe in Adama Sanogo and you could bring in a veteran like a Clint Capela who's 30 years old, over a 20-year vet in the NBA, still extremely productive for what it is. Now, the Atlanta Hawk fan base has kind of turned on Clint Capela over the last few years, but when you look at it, still averaging a double-double last season at 11.5 points per game, 10.5 rebounds per game. He did that on 57% shooting from the field as well for them, and he averaged right over a block and a half per game as well, right under a steal per game. Clint Capela playing 73 games last season. As a matter of fact, over the last 4 seasons, the minimum games that he's played is 63. So a pretty durable player there as well, even as he gets a little bit older. He had some injury concerns kind of in the latter half of his career, but it's been pretty healthy over the last handful of years for the most part. You guys know kind of my barrier of counting a player as healthy. Anything around 65 games, I look at as you played in the majority of the game. So, that's what you can look at it. Only 1 turnover per game as well. The thing that it comes down to is that if the Bulls are interested on Clint Capela, it would mean that the Bulls would have to acquire him via a trade. And when you look at the $22 million left on Clint Capela's contract, you got to raise the question on how would the Chicago Bulls even be looking to make a move like that? Now, here's what I'm going to offer a counter to this as well. Maybe the Bulls are looking to dump off Nikola Vucevic, which that's a bit of a weird wording there, Haize. But maybe the Bulls are looking to get rid of Nikola Vucevic, which when you look at Vooch and Clint Capela's contracts, they're right there. You can match that salary without really throwing in anything else. Maybe the Atlanta Hawks are looking for a veteran center to be there with they draft a new center. Maybe we'll see what happens there. But this raises a lot of questions on how the Bulls would acquire a Clint Capela in a case and scenario like this. So a Zach LaVine trade, maybe. I don't see that with the Atlanta Hawks, right? So acquiring Clint Capela would be the biggest question there. Could it be Alonzo Ball or something like that? We'll see, right? But if the Atlanta Hawks are just looking to get rid of Clint Capela, the Bulls do have the contracts that they can match with that. The bigger question is, what does this overall mean for the center position for the Chicago Bulls? Do they think they're getting a new starting center in this draft? And they're ready to start that guy right away, clearing the way, and maybe move off Nikola Vucevic and get Clint Capela in here? Clint Capela is still a starting caliber center. He started all 73 games he played as well last season. So I don't see you acquiring a $22 million contract, even though it is expiring at the end of the season, to sit them on the bench. But weirder things have happened when it comes down to it. But overarchingly, Clint Capela for what he is, right? I think we have to realize it. Taking the contracts and everything out of the equation, which they still factor in. But Clint Capela is somebody who can go out there and get you a double-double, right? He's somebody who in his role is very specialized, but can perform that role really well, averaging 25 minutes per game. He's done that or more over the last 4 seasons as well, so it's not like he's dropping and only averaging 22 minutes or something like that. So Clint Capela is somebody who can still play and perform and give you a role. The bigger question is what type of role would the Bulls be looking for him to contribute in if they do acquire him? And is that expiring contract portion of that the biggest benefit that the Bulls are looking for while they maybe get a new starting center, or while they hope Adama Sanogo, performs and steps up and things like that? With how close the Bulls could theoretically be up to the luxury tax if they re-sign P. Will, if they re-sign DeMar DeRozan, acquiring a player for a $22 million contract just at a position that you could get a younger player in the draft seems like maybe not the best allocation of assets, but we'll see what ends up coming of this. Let me know what you guys think down below. The potential of Clint Capela coming to the Chicago Bulls. Do you like what role do you see him playing in? Do you think they're bringing him in maybe for a Vooch to send? Maybe Atlanta wants Vooch. I don't necessarily see that. Maybe it's a 3-team deal. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod, which is the most important thing. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. That's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.